Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for tapping in, turning on, tuning in. So, we are going to tap in, turn on, tune in as whatever. I'm gonna just hit record because I was already like delaying and stalling and stuff like that. And so I just want to say this little mini introduction. So, how are you? Thank you so much for tapping in, turning on, tuning in with Enchantress, the Babbler. That's me on our evolutionary, like never ending story, right? Either way, so it's very interesting. So, we're gonna tap in, we're gonna turn on because we turned up and we tuned in, and that's just how it's gonna be. Right. But I want to bring up an interesting article that I came across and stuff like that, which made such wonderful sense in for me with the intermingling of just like this is going to be a little bit of astrology talk, but I'm going to be as superficial as can be, um between Aquarius and Pisces. Like, I've been talking about Aquarius and Pisces having to work alongside to side one another. It's in many different videos. I don't know, but that's why I say watch all my videos and stuff. But for the last, like, since Saturn has been in Aquarius, I have been talking about Saturn and Pisces being the odd couple. For those of you that are tapped in, turned on, tuned in, and watch numerous videos of me, if you are here and listening, and if you remember or recall that which I have said about Aquarius and Pisces energy being the odd couple, and working themselves, having to work together and creating this interesting chemistry that they create, only they can create, because eccentric, eclectic, and out there both of these signs are, right? Anyways, right, so I came across this article that speaks of Saturn in Aquarius, right? But it debunks that Saturn is currently now moving into Pisces, and it's just from an astronomer's perspective and the calculations. And this is where we get also Vedic and Western astrology and the differences between Vedic and Western astrology. Now, if you tapped in, turned on, tuned in with then you already know that I infuse and blend both of these guys, right, together, and find the elements of whatever shadowed light aspect of evolution needing to be identified, articulated, or whatever. I speak on these things, right? And so this article is very interesting because in its mathematical spirit science, well, not spirit science, because it's not being spirit science, it's being kind of factual science. But if you think about the elements of all things and how all things are created into knowledge-based system, everything is human coined terminology and implanted in our system. So either way, but if we understand energy in all its science, and knowing that anything that has been already created can never be destroyed and therefore exists, especially dependent upon the belief and all this kind of stuff. So there's so many different factors that play into even astrology and your belief system in that, and that which resonates and which doesn't, and all this kind of stuff, right? All we do agree upon, whether you're an astrologer or astronomer, right, is that Saturn is all about being the cosmic authority figure, right? I call him great grandpa Saturn. And for those of you that are tapped in, turned on, tuned in, I've told you that Saturn, I have strong Saturn placements, along with Saturn literally visiting every these last two, like, they say, right, Saturn, right, stays in each constellation for 2.5 years. So this is the astrologer dynamic of it, right? So if it stays in each sign for 2.5 years, then this is right, meaning that it's Saturn is moving into Pisces, which is technically right? So I'm going to explain, because we're going to go over the article really quick before we even go tap in, tune into this, the messages for this reading and stuff like that, right? So we're going to get there. And for those of you that don't want to listen to all of this mumbo jumbo and all this kind of stuff, to you, okay? There we go, right? So Saturn does, right, because it's a 29.3 24-year orbit around the sun, if that's true, because this is implanted information too. So we got to be mindful about everything that we do. We got to pick up everything like grains of sand in the hourglass of our hands, and and take with it as we will, right? So but astronomers debunk, right, this, right, that they're not saying that Saturn's not going to enter Pisces. They're saying Saturn's not entering Pisces yet. Okay, because of a specific thing that they call axial precession, right? And that this happens every 26,000 years. But again, right, where do we get our information from? So, darlings, I want you who's here, tapped in, turned on, tuned in, to always remember to think for yourself, research for yourself, learn for yourself, come to terms with information for yourself, right? You don't need to be led into, oh no, you got to believe in this. No, you got to believe in this. I'm not even telling you that which I speak of that you need to believe in anything. If it resonates for you, it resonates for you. If you're here, well, welcome. I am so excited that you are freaking here, right? So we're going to make that clear, right? So as we start. Mental transformation. I love this. So we're going to be talking about the future. Serious, right? We're serious about this. Okay, we're serious about this mental transformation that is occurring, right? Okay, so anyways, we're going to cover, I'm not going to read the whole freaking full article, but you can go check it out yourself. I will link the articles so you can check it out for yourself. And then for all you mathematicians, scientificicians, scientists and master alchemists out there who might be finding or coming across this information, be like, I'm going to look into this myself. I love that. And if you are so brave and so kind and you want to come back and chime in and entertain I with more knowledge, because I am all for knowledge, right? I'm a big reader, seer, you know what I mean? I'm always reading. I'm always learning. I am a student of all these universal lives, right, that we live. These are so many multidimensional, interdimensional lives that we live. Welcome, as in my book, right? The Darker Night Light of My Soul. If you see the big page there that it says our soul, SOUL, called life. You know what I mean? Yeah, like back in the day with that song, with that show, that TV show, My Soul Called Life. Well, it's my soul called life, right? So, but either way, so astronomers debunk that which, and they lean closer to the Vedic mathematics of, like, because in Vedic astrology, literally, we're not even yet in the sign of Pisces. We're still in the sign of Aquarius, and that will be so until about March 12th. So this is why in Vedic astrology and in Western astrology, we have different signs, right? So like, for example, like a very superficial example, in Western astrology, I am a Sagittarius, but in Vedic astrology, it has yet to turn into the sign of Sagittarius, because my birthday is early December, right? So in Vedic astrology, I am still very much Scorpio. But what does this all mean? Because there's different belief systems, different sciences. So the way that I'm processing this, even in my mind, because we can get lost into so much of the detailing about finding out specifics, especially when this is math, man-made everything in terms of everything. But I've learned how my information flows intuitively and stuff like that. And there's just certain, like, as we continue to dive into our own rabbit holes of truth and all this kind of stuff too, it's going to be different for each and every one of us. You know what I'm saying? And so there's certain things that I'm like, I'm not going to fight you on. Believe as you believe. All I can go is what resonates with me, and I listen deep into this Akashic sea of Atlantean energy, of all this kind of cosmic universal language that only we can inner decode, upload. You know what I'm saying? So, but due to this actual precession, right, the position of the zodiac constellations have shifted over time, and they are not in the same places as they used to be. So this is the argument between astronomers about astrologers saying that now it's Saturn and Pisces, when that's impossible due to the shifting and the movement of all these planets not being in the same position as they're in. And if you think about it from an evolutionary perspective about space, time, and existence, then you cannot, right, fully argue and say that that's untrue, to say that something is stuck in the sky too, and it's specific and it stays exactly in this kind of place and all this kind of stuff, when everything moves, everything shifts, everything is movable, everything is evolutionary. You get what I'm saying? So there's some truths into all of this, but then wait a minute, how can then, if it's debunking the astrologers and all this kind of stuff, so what does that mean? Because everybody's talking about Saturn and Pisces, so it's just an energy of a light. It's not, though, because everything that exists, once it exists, and that's it. You can't take that away. So you know how we have post and we have, wait, is it post? And then it's I could be talking about such grand articulations, and then in simple talk, I'd be like, is it post or pre? I just drooled it. Good thing I wasn't on camera. But yeah, so anyways, so I feel like this is like its pre-shadow phase. This is a pre-shadow phase, and this ties wonderfully with the different variations of degrees of how I kept talking about the Aquarius Piscean relationship that's pivotal at this time. That they're the odd couple being asked to dance, to dine, to unify, to infuse, and to find to use their quirkiness, their uniqueness together. So it's like this Aqua Pisces. So Aqua is meeting up with Piscean energy, and it's like, take my hand, we're gonna dance. I don't know what I'm doing either, but we're doing this together because we need to unify, we need to team, and we're the only ones in this alchemy of alignment that is prepared for this, because we accept that which we accept, and we are not stuck anywhere that we don't need to be. And so this unifying energy is creating this grand mental transformation here for us in the future. So by the time Saturn does go into Pisces, technically, right? It's supposed to cross into Pisces, as according to these astronomers, it's April 18, 2025, guys. So we're 20. Mic drop. Literally. Mic dropped. Okay, literally. So it's a very interesting article. Don't be so close-minded and like, now. Especially if you're new to astrology and you're talking Saturn and Pisces and stuff like that. This again goes with the opening up into being fluid, not being stuck and rigid in just one particular place just because you think it's so. You know what I'm saying? Right? The human doesn't know. And so as we grow, we get to know and we learn and stuff like that. So that's what I love. I love learning with you guys. So so for me, the way that I'm downloading this and receiving this is like a time loop. We're in a time loop period because of our advancement with our evolution. Why wouldn't we find the perfect partner, the complementary partner, although odd it may be, who's in their evolution to see and to dance this harmony that we seek, that we need, right? Because Saturn and Aquarius, right? It was all about this underdog energy, right? This underdog energy, right? And so now, right, it was this underdog energy healing, right? The karma of the ego in some kind of way, right? Dealing with issues of self-identity and placements here in this world, and kind of like you know, how are we, who are we, right, in the spectrum of others, like with others in this world and stuff like that. Like, it's just like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I here? As we activate here on this earthly plane of existence, what are we bringing what are we bringing into successful existence? So this mental transformation. So I just feel like we're ahead of the game for once due to the progression of our evolution. There we go. Thank you, Spirit. Right? So yeah, so I want you to be open to this message. This message is different, whatever. And you know what's crazy though too, because right, in my moon signs, so I find this very interesting because I am very quirky and eccentric, eclectic, and like just very odd to myself, like from, oh my god. Hold on, please. Okay. Hi. All right. So, what were we saying? So, yeah. So, Saturn in Pisces debunked by astronomers. Right. Welcome to the time loop oracles. Ooh. Yeah. Right. So, the article that I am referencing is on sciencefocus.com. Okay. So, we're just going to read it a little bit and then you can go check it out yourself. I will share the link. Okay. So, astrology's biggest 2023 claim debunked. Saturn isn't moving into Pisces. It's not even close. But it is. But it's not. But it is. But it's not. Oh my goodness. Will we ever get it right? This is by Holly Stanner. Right? This is published on March 8th, 2023. So the news is awash with news that Saturn is moving into Pisces after spending 2.5 years in the constellation of Aquarius. You've probably noticed a great deal of hubbub surrounding the ring planet Saturn as it supposedly transits into its new home, Pisces, on March 7th, right? So popular outlets say that Saturn is moving from the constellation of Aquarius, where it spent the last 2.5 years, into Pisces, where it will remain until February 2026. The planet Saturn, a cosmic authority which traditionally represents discipline, structure, and responsibility, moving into Pisces, is thought by those in the astrology community to mean a shift in focus. Pisces, as a sign, is associated with intuition, creativity, and compassion. Put them together, and according to astrologists, you've got all the material to tout the beginnings of a new stage in your life. It's time to embrace that new creative endeavor, the business you've always dreamed of, or kickstart your new wellness regimen. But if you got even a basic astronomy app installed on your phone, you'll quite understandably be confused at these claims. A quick glance and you'll see that Saturn is not actually entering Pisces. In fact, astronomers from the University of Sussex, Liverpool, John Moores University, and BBC Sky at Night have categorically confirmed to BBC Science Focus that it is set to remain in Aquarius until 2025. Saturn technically crosses the border from Aquarius to Pisces on April 18, 2025, an event which will have no bearing on the human race. Explains astronomer and BBC Sky at Night presenter Pete Lawrence. So, what is going on? To answer this, we have to consider variables other than simply Saturn's orbit. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Saturn has a 29.4 year orbit. If we turn that into days, 10,756 days, and divide that by 12, the number of zodiac constellations on the ecliptic, we get 896 days. Divide this by the number of days in a year, 365, and we've got 2.5 rounded up, right? 2.5 years. So, according to this, Saturn stays in each constellation for 2.5 years as it progresses through its 29.4 year orbit around the sun. So far, so good? Are you getting this? Okay, good. However, our view of the night sky is influenced by Earth's position relative to what we are viewing. So whether you're about the round Earth or flat Earth theories and all this kind of stuff, this is where a lot of debates can come into play. And about everything, I like to share everything, right? So that you can, everything that's there, so that you can come to the truest form of what's the word I'm looking for? Of understanding for yourself, for overstanding. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So, however, our view of the night sky is influenced by Earth's position relative to what we're viewing. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh boy. All right, so although that this is going down, there are other aspects at play. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. The Earth wobbles on its axis of rotation like a toy spinning slightly off center. This slow wobbling motion causes a slight shift in the position of the stars and constellations in the night sky over time, an effect that's known as axial precession. This happens on a cycle of around 26,000 years. In addition to changes in the distribution of solar radiation received by the Earth, precession is therefore pretty important when it comes to how we view the night sky at our point in the geological timescale. And there's also apsidal precession. I'm not sure if I said that right, but it's APSIDAL, apsidal precession. Not only does Earth's axis wobble, but Earth's entire orbital ellipse also wobbles. We're wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. Astrologers, however, choose to ignore this crucial mechanism. Astrologists fail to take into account precession, which over time causes the apparent position of the sun to drift against the background stars, says Lawrence. Due to precession, the position of the zodiac constellations have shifted over time. They're not in the same place they used to be. And they will continue to move and change shape as the millennia go on. Ignoring the effects of precession means that Western astrologers use dates that are not representative of what is actually going on. But it's not just the position of the planets that Western astrologers get wrong, as Dr. Darren Baskell, astronomer and lecturer from the University of Sussex, explains. The sun does not move into the constellation of Pisces until the 12th of March, 2023. But astrologers say that the star sign of Pisces covers that period from February 19th, almost a month earlier. The sun moved in front of the constellation of Pisces on February 19th. So in the years around 700 AD, so astrologers appear to be stuck 1,300 years in the past, says Baskell. By the same logic, hey, beautiful souls, you know how I be hitting pause and stuff like that. So I don't know where I left off with the article, but anyway, so here we go. We're going to continue. The sun does not move into the constellation of Pisces until the 12th of March. But astrologers say that the star sign of Pisces covers this period, right? We read that. The sun moved in front of the constellation of Pisces on the 19th of February. In the years, I think this is so pivotally important, okay? In the years around 700 AD. So astrologers appear to be stuck. They appear to be stuck 1,300 years in the past. And then we think about the Saturn and Aquarius, right? It's all about healing the karma of the ego. which brings me into like thought about these aspects of ourselves, these shadow aspects of ourselves, right? That we are working through. And if you think about it, there's still so much transmutation taking place, especially collectively, which makes a lot more sense, right? Before the full washing of everything, there's still stuff to be worked through, right? Especially in the shadow elements of a lot of stuff, childish shadow, right? Like immature and lack of experience, right? Sheltered adult temper tantrums, right? So we're still being given time to grow into ourselves, right? And put that childlike behavior to use by going out and exploring new things, right? So there's a lot of energies that are childish, especially like in this spiritually evolutionizing community. Like everybody's competing, comparing, contrasting, shading people, acting real childish in the spiritual community. So it's still being worked through, right? It's still being worked through. But let me finish the article. Right? It's still being worked through. Right? So by the same logic, we could argue that it's still summer when at the time of writing, it's in fact cold, drizzly day in March. Right? So the zodiac band of sky. When the science of astronomy was still in its infancy, some of the first stars to be grouped into patterns were those forming the background to the sun as it moved across the sky, while the earth in turn was happily orbiting the sun. This narrow strip of sky is what we now know as the zodiac band. It's centered on the ecliptic, the apparent path of the sun across the celestial sphere, and extends approximately 9 degrees on either side. In other words, the zodiac constellations represent divisions of the sky along the ecliptic, and each constellation corresponds to an astrological sign: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. In astrology, it's the position of the planets and stars within this band that is believed to hold influence over personality traits, events, or human affairs. So, based off of the astronomers, Saturn will remain in the constellation Aquarius until 2025, which, you know, it makes sense too, because typically the band is 2.5 years, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. But this is major. This is a lot, right? And so it's being extended in some kind of degree or way, right? So why are astrologers saying that Saturn is entering Pisces when it's actually still in Aquarius? There's a lot that popular media get wrong when it comes to astronomy. Aside from the sheer avalanche of articles regarding planets and constellations when they're actually in another, remember how we discussed that the zodiac constellations represent divisions of the sky along the ecliptic. For an astrologer, the ecliptic is divided into 30-degree chunks, 360 degrees divided by 12 zodiac constellations, starting at 0 to 30 degrees, right, being the location of the vernal equinox. We have the first star sign of the zodiac, Aries, then Taurus from 30 to 60 degrees, and so on. But thanks to precession, right, this actual precession, these regions no longer contain the stars associated with their respective constellation. You can't ignore these things, right? And to confuse matters further, a lot of astrologers incorrectly use these 30-degree regions of space and their namesake constellations interchangeably. 2,000 years ago, this wasn't an issue. The constellations were nestled in their respective regions, but it's not so relevant today. As with anything, evolution, right? It's like holding on to truths of yesterday that do not apply today. We need to transform that. We need to transmute that. We need to rise from these things, right? And thanks to the cycle of precession, it's going to be a long time before the constellations even return home. Pseudoscience or psychology. While Wow. Hold on. Pseudoscience or psychology. While astronomy deals with the science, astrology is a divinatory system that seeks to interpret the supposed influence of celestial objects on human affairs and personalities. In reality, there is no evidence that the position of the planets in relation to the constellations, 30-degree bands of sky, or anything else in the celestial sphere has any effect on our lives. However, astrology has been practiced for thousands of years and is still widely believed in by many people around the world. Some people find value in astrology, which I do, even when I read it as in this and how it, there's so much depth to understanding it, right? Some people find value in astrology as a form of self-discovery and personal reflection, and many people enjoy reading their horoscopes as a form of entertainment. I don't read my horoscope. A horoscope is just one astrologer's interpretation for each and every zodiac sign, and everything just the same way with tarot readers. It's a matter of evolution, wisdom, and perspective, especially when you're just a tarot reader and not a channel for the divine, because there's a big fucking difference. There's people that just read tarot cards, read oracle cards, and they use their intellect and evolution to interpret the cards. And then there are people that channel through their divination, and they're conduits for divine messaging. And so there's a huge difference. Okay, so be on your discernment about that, because a lot of people are just a lot of self-proclaimed bullshit artists, you know what I'm saying, and narcissists, spiritual narcissists. Okay, so however, astrology has been practiced for thousands of years and is still widely believed in by many people around the world. Some people find value in astrology as a form of self-discovery and personal reflection, and many people enjoy reading their horoscopes as a form of entertainment. While the zodiac constellations have shifted over time, astrologers still use the traditional zodiac signs and meanings that were established thousands of years ago. The meanings is just the same thing like putting a cap on our dictionary. Like, whoever said the language was supposed to stop? I thought that with the evolution of we're going to be coming up with new feelings, new emotions, new experiences that we would need new words to explain. You know what I'm saying? So while the zodiac constellations have shifted over time, astrologers still use the traditional zodiac signs and meanings that were established thousands of years ago. The meanings and interpretations associated with each sign are based on ancient myths, symbolism, and tradition rather than their actual astronomical positions. Read that back as often as you need to get into the truth of a lot of many things. Ultimately, whether astrology is real or not depends on your perspective and beliefs. While there is no scientific evidence to support its claims, astrology can still have meaning and value for those who believe in it. Right? So I am going to definitely link this article, and you can do your own further research. Right? I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm here to share in knowledge and information and stuff like that, right? So here we are. So we're traveling through this time loop of eccentricities, this time loop of energy. So let's focus and let's see what is happening here, right? So mental transformation, let's go to that. Right, so we have mental transformation. I hope you all are well. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, to go check out our community board, to check out every single playlist I have up, and start tapping in, turning on, tuning in to all that you might have missed. There are over 2K legacy videos here on this channel for you to explore and get into depth more. So yeah, enjoy that. There's so much here for you to just continuously be fluid in and receive. Always bring your notebook, you know what I mean? Right, so this is all about mental transformations. All right. Belief, habits, and mental attachments cause most of the distress that we experience as humans. Sometimes we don't even realize we have them. Now that we are making a planetary transition It requires us to let go of these obstacles to true awakening. Our future serious friends who have released these obstacles can help us with this because they provide loving guidance to help us navigate this transition. This card asks you to be truthful about your limiting beliefs and habits, even the positive ones, and open yourself to new and flexible ways of thought and being. This card accesses energies from the Syrian era after they became an awakened species and transcended to a non-physical fifth density state. The Syrians from this era are a great model for humans because when they were young, their species had many of the same challenges that plagues humans now. One of these challenges is that humans are often their own worst enemies because of their destructive thought patterns that continually sabotage spiritual growth and the transformation of the planet. When the Syrians were able to transcend their destructive mental patterns, they were able to make their planetary transition with ease. If this card is in your spread, look to the other cards as well as your life circumstances for future clues. The meaning may have to do with a needed transformation that must take place in your thought and belief patterns in order for you to make a shift. Conversely, the card may be acknowledging that you have made this shift and are ready to move into a new level of growth. Self-honesty will be needed in order to know which of these options or another is accurate. It is quite possible that guides from the serious era are working with you on your growth. If you feel this is the case, open yourself even more to the wisdom they can share with you. Do not fear this change, for freedom always comes from this type of mental transformation, right? So here we are. Let's work on some crystallized healing for our planet, for the inhabitants here, and those going through every single evolutionary transition for major transformation, evolution, clearing away all the obstacles that might be standing in their way. We're washing it away. Right? Love that. Right? It's healing the shadows. Let's work on the shadows that are being addressed at this time. Defensive shadow, an overprotective mentality, cautious, easily triggered, quick to protect, right? So these are the things we're still working through, right? Have a willingness to lay aside your defensive tendencies so you can see situations clearly, right? Let's pull a few for the collective, and then I'm going to go through each sign. Remember, we are more than one sign, and if you are tapped in, turned on, tuned in with definitely check out your Vedic and Western astrology signs to really understand yourself best. The critical shadow. Not easily satisfied or pleased, nitpicking, complaining, so judgmental and difficult even to be around, right? So when you are no longer judging and criticizing yourself, you will stop criticizing others. Duality shadow, unable to merge two opposite sides of themselves, right? So look at your south node, north node placements as well, right? Double life, conflict within, split personality, self-identity crisis, right? Learn to embrace your opposite sides, appreciate them, light and shadow, right? And realize that each one contains something valuable, right? Here we go. Addictive shadow. So we're still fighting off addictions. likely to become unhealthy, dependent upon a substance, practice, person, or habit. When you take control of your life, the universe will work for you. Resist and overcome your bad habits, right? Taker, right? And then when I see taker, I also like think faker, phony, and all this kind of stuff. But takes more than they give, right? So these egoic, like the spiritual narcissists too, right? That are here, they take more than they give. Opportunist, gold digger, and they exploit people, right? So when you give selflessly of yourself, it sends positive vibrations out and your generosity gets returned. Okay, beautiful, right? So we are going to so we are going to travel through each of the signs, but before we do so, let's see what we got here, right? Who we got here? Right, you could be an Aries, right? You can have a south node, north node in Aries. You could be an earth sign, so that's Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, right? You can you could be a Sagittarius. Sorry. You can be a Sagittarius. You can have your Neptune in Sagittarius. I'm seeing numbers. You could be 32 years old. You can have been born in 1962. Angel number 326. 3, so 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, which equals 2, right? Which also makes me think of Taurus as well. You could have been born in 1965, 1961, 1956. You could be 51 years old. You could be 54 years old. You could have been born in 1966, right? So you could be a life path 6, a life path 5, right? Beautiful. You could have been born in 1965. It could be 51, like I said. It could be Cancer, Gemini, Aries, Taurus, right? Capricorn, Virgo, Scorpio, Aries again, Gemini, right? Virgo, Libra, Aquarius, I'm seeing. Okay. You can have a Jupiter in Libra, Jupiter in Virgo, Jupiter in Sag, Jupiter in Scorpio. Be an earth sign again, I'm seeing that. Right, so check your Pluto signs, your south node, north node. Okay, you can have a Mercury in Aries, Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in Capricornio. Even in Gemini, I said that already, right? Okay. Okay. A lot of Jupiter energy. It could be Sagittarius too, like I said. All right, you could have a Mars in Sagittarius, Mars in Aries. And we got Saturn up in here, right? Gemini is working. It's about working on your feminine, intuitive energies. The divine feminine, go with the flow, water, tapping into your water elements, right? So check your signs. So Gemini opening up to emotion. Aries opening up to your intuition. Aries working on your masculine energy for successful conclusion, right? Sagittarius bringing the joy and happiness into your life with right harmony, right? So much here to unpack, right? Okay. Okay. So, oh, I didn't even see this. Aries again, Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio. All right. All right. So we are going to go through each of the signs. Okay, starting with Aries down to Pisces. And we're going to be bringing up the shadow during this Saturn transit, whether you're going to look at it as Saturn in Aquarius or Saturn in Pisces. I don't care what you choose. I just brought to you new information for you to decode and find your own truth in its own development for yourself. Okay. So I'm calling this a transit because we're still going through transits at this time. So we're going to just travel through all the signs. Remember, we are more than one sign. So check your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, whatever you want to check, south node, north node, whatever the case may be, in both Vedic astrology and Western astrology, and then formulate your own truths within those truths of resonance that you find for yourself. But remember, take all of this with a grain of salt, because you are your own person. And it's up to you to be you in whichever shape, form that's going to be in. Okay? Alrighty. So we are moving on. Aries. Aries, what shadows during this Saturn transit are you going to be working through? Okay. So Aries, you might get annoyed with the shadow side that I'm going to bring up right now, but this perfectionist shadow, displeased with anything that is not perfect, all or nothing, unrealistic, high expectations. That's like when you're on your high horse and people want to kick you off of your little motherfucking high horse, but you're like, you know what it took me to get on this motherfucking high horse? And so as you should, rock out your crown and all this kind of stuff. But making mistakes is better than not doing anything at all, right? For some of you, it's always 50-50 crowd. Let go of the idea of perfection, right? So some of you that may create stagnation, right? So we're cleansing that, we're purifying that, we're releasing that, we're transmuting that. The scapegoat shadow, blamed or punished for another's actions, victimized, sacrificed, pushover, right? Wherever you fall under that. Learn to respect yourself more so others stop taking advantage of you. Take a stand against those who are using you. Okay? Aries, the follower shadow. Easily influenced or led, loss of identity, compliant, and heavily influenced, right? If you are always following, then you will be subjected to others' ideas about who you should be. I love that. All right. So we're working on that and we're cleansing the energies, right? Aries, sun, moon, rising, Venus, right? Wherever you are. Okay. We are moving on to Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, rising. What shadows are we eliminating, transmuting, transforming? Ooh, 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 here we go. Taurus. Right? All right. It's okay. We're working through all of the shadow aspects. It's okay. We get triggered, get fucking triggered, but it's better to identify so that you can rectify and you can heal, right? Feel, heal, deal. So here we go. Volatile shadow, right? Ready to pop off. 2, explosive temper and easy to anger, moody as fudge, feel strongly and overreacts to certain kind of things, right? Because you got to heal certain kind of things within your whole template. Before you spring into action, ask yourself if your anger is a friend or an enemy. Wonderful, right? Taurus, the envious shadow. Desire the good fortune of another. Jealous, competitive, bitter, right? Healing those kind of friendship aspects too, right? You might say, oh, they're competitive with me. Are they really? Or is it you and your view? Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from fulfilling your greatest potential. All right, Taurus, here we go. Aimless shadow. No ambition or clear direction in life, purposeless, lost, unguided, wasting time, right? For those that might suffer from even what we would call lazy, right? Not doing enough that which you should because you get stuck on something that keeps you in the endless cycle of not doing something about it, right? So find your target to shoot at and purge not another person, Taurus. Your personal goal. Find your target to shoot at and purge yourself of all the aimless distractions. Don't live a life in darkness. All right, that's beautiful, right? So let's cleanse this. Healing, Taurus. All right, we are moving on to Gemini. Gemini shadow at this time. Gemini. Oh, Gemini. Gemini. Maybe you need my help. Hold on. All right. Here we are. Here we are. All right, Gemini. Workaholic shadow. Unable to detach from work, slave, altruistic, neglecting yourself and others, right? For those of you that got a fort to hold down and just that boss-like energy too, right? So give yourself the space you need to live a happy and balanced life. Create a life outside of work, right? Or just, yeah, right? So the defeatist shadow, pessimistic, often expecting the worst, resigned to defeat, negative, right? Negative talk too, fatalistic. Let go of negative thoughts. Focus on what's good and you'll attract more positive things in your life, right? And insecure shadow, right? Gemini, lacking self-confidence or assurance, fragile, need reassurance, feel inadequate. Everything you need is within you and can handle whatever the world throws at you. Yes, that is true indeed. So here we are, crystal clearing energy for those with Gemini, sun, moon, rising, Venus, whatever dominant planets in your chart that have Gemini, you know, clearing the space. Right. I wasn't planning on doing all of this kind of stuff. Moving on to the next one, we are going to Cancer. I wasn't planning on doing all of this, so there will be timestamps for all of this, you know, just me talking in between. I'm just, you know, divinely lit, guided, protected, and just listening to how I'm flowing and going. So here we go, Cancer. Hello. What shadows are we clearing during these Saturn transits for you? Right? What shadows are we working through? Cancer. Cancer, sun, moon, rising, Venus, south node, north node, whatever. Cancer. Oh. Hmm. 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 Right. Okay, Cancer. Heavy energy in Cancers. Right. So I'm gonna pick up the rose quartz here. So the traditional shadow, strong attachment to traditional values, conditioning, kind of like believing everything that you've been told, right? Rooted values, fixed, accustomed, right? To whatever conditioned way of life that you have. So you have the choice to choose what others expect of you or become who you really are. You have the choice to choose what others expect of you, right? You have the right to choose from that or become who you really are. The critical shadow, Cancers, not easily satisfied or pleased, nitpicking, complaining, judgmental, and just difficult, right? Moods, right? When you are no longer judging and criticizing yourself, you will stop criticizing others. Okay? The unhealthy shadow. Tend to ignore your own health problems or self-care, self-neglect, neglecting your body, mind, and spirit. Or healing this. It's not selfish to love yourself, take care of yourself, not talk about it, really be about it, right? Take care of yourself and give yourself permission to pause and restore. So here we are, healing Cancers with some love energy, self-loving energy, like clearing the ways. Right, moving on. All right, so now we're going to Leo. Hello, beautiful Leo. Here we go. Remember to always check out more than one sign. We are more than one sign, so flow. Leo, what shadows are you working through these Saturn transits? Okay. What shadows are you working through these transits? These Leo. Oh. Okay. What shadows are you working through these Saturn transits? All right, Leo. Volatile shadow. Your explosive temper and easy to anger, being moody, feeling strongly, and overreacting. Before you spring into action, look at this fire right here, right? Ask yourself if your anger is a friend or an enemy. Envious shadow, Leo. Desire the good fortune of another, being jealous, competitive, and bitter. Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from fulfilling your greatest potential. All right? The incurious shadow, not curious or observant, willfully blind, not learning lessons. You can't turn a blind eye to problems that require you to take action. Things you ignore will only grow. Okay, Leo, the seeds we sow. In Vedic astrology, I have a Leo rising. So here we go. We're healing the Leos. Sun, moon, rising. Venus. Saturn. Here we go. Washing. Right. Okay, we are moving on. Right to Virgo. Hello, beautiful Virgo. In Western astrology, my rising is in Virgo. So here we go. Virgo, what are your Saturn lessons during this transit? What is your shadow? What shadow healing needs to be addressed during this transit? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okie doke. Right? Virgos, your workaholic shadow, unable to detach from work, being a slave, altruistic, neglecting yourself and others. Give yourself the space you need to live a happy and balanced life. Create a life outside of work. Oh, even for some, I hear being stuck not doing stuff that you should or something, or just being distracted with things that keep you away from the things that you should be paying attention to, right? The overbearing shadow, overwhelming in their power, pushy, forceful, annoying, dictatorial. A situation or someone in your life may need adequate space from you. Allow room for conditions to improve. So healing your relationships with being overbearing or demanding or commanding or isolating or judgmental towards those around you in some kind of way. And then it goes right here with the needy shadow, requiring constant attention and support, clingy, dependent, and smothering, and if not, getting into a depressive state when you don't receive such things, right? Practice self-reliance and build yourself up from within so you can take responsibility for your own happiness, Virgos, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, wherever you have Virgo in your chart. That's dominant, right? All aspects we are healing, clearing. Breathe. All right. These messages are not meant to, well, you know what? Yeah, they triggered good, right? We are moving on to Libra. Libra. What aspects of the shadow are needing to be healed, worked through on during these Saturn transits? What? All right, Libra, you get 4. Okay. For those with Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, or whatever dominant in your chart, your stubborn shadow, fixed or set in a purpose or opinion, refusing to change, being difficult and inflexible. Don't let your stubbornness get in the way of meaningful progress. Know when to stand firm and know when to let go. And curious shadow, not curious or observant, willfully blind and not learning lessons. You cannot turn a blind eye to problems that require you to take action. Things you ignore will only grow. Your reactive shadow, quick to emotionally react to situations, to overreact, and not taking criticism well. Don't be mad at me up in here, you Libra, okay? This is about the shadow elements of the Saturn transits and all this kind of stuff. It's not supposed to be all like puppies and rainbows, okay? So, and then your volatile shadow, explosive temper and easy to anger, being moody, feeling strongly, and overreacting. Before you spring into action, ask yourself if your anger is a friend or an enemy. This card seems to be coming up for many of the signs up in here, but remember, we are more than one sign, so definitely go check out your other signs and planets and all that kind of stuff. So we are healing this energy right here, transforming it, transmuting it, right? Evolving past our own stubborn and stuck. Okay. Alrighty. Moving on to Scorpio. Hi, Scorpio. In Vedic astrology, I'm a Scorpio sun. Right, Scorpio. So what shadow triggers healing need to occur during the Saturn transit? Scorpio, what lessons, healing, shadows need to be addressed these Saturn transits? There we go. Scorpio. Okay. Okay. You're projecting shadow, projecting traits or emotions onto others, healing that distortedness too, especially because you're so in depth, right? You're your death, your rebirth, your transformation, transmutation, and you bring a lot of lives into your life now. And that might interfere with a lot of things because it can make you feel crazy too, right? So mirroring self-defense and self-justification for the things that you might do, right? Determine when you're projecting or who's projecting onto you to avoid getting sucked into a cycle of negativity. Your scattered shadow, lack of focus and easily gets confused all over the place, unstructured, disorganized. Make good use of your time, map out your vision and prioritize what is urgent, then stick to your plan. And then the superior shadow, minimize or undermine others to feel better, boastful, condescending, and snootiness. Careful not to confuse your self-ideals and what you want to be with who you really are by trying to impress others. Okay, so here we are healing these aspects. Sun, moon, rising, Venus, whatever is dominant, Scorpio, right? Traveling the sign of Scorpio. Bringing healing, removing all negativity, allowing for transmutation, for transformation to occur. Okay, we are moving on. I'm getting through this. Good. All right, we're moving on to Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, sun, moon, rising, whatever. In Western astrology, I am a Sagittarius sun. Sagittarius, what shadow aspects, lessons, healing are happening for you with these Saturn transits? All right. Sagittarius, your guarded shadow. Being closed off, not trusting anyone, shut down, a guarded heart, trust issues. Right? The amount of trust issues that we could justify, right? Your efforts to protect yourself is what's blocking you from the very thing you want the most. Dissolve your barriers. The envious shadow, desire the good fortune of another, jealous, competitive, and bitter. Comparing yourself to others only distracts you from fulfilling your greatest potential. Right? This card came up too for a couple of different signs that were up in here. Sagittarius, the wasteful shadow. Uses and disposes of things carelessly, ungrateful, taking for granted, wasted resources. This could be even an overspending, right? Being wasteful, using too much tissue, like things like that, and not caring, you know what I mean? Underneath your routine, life is a hidden treasure trove of countless bless ups yet to be realized. All right, Sagittarius, so we are healing these aspects, these shadows that are coming up for us, right? Healing it mind, body, heart, and soul. Creating this transmutation for transformation. Beautiful. We are moving forward. Capricornio. Got Capricorn too. My chart, but we're not gonna talk about that. Okay. All right, Capricorn. What Saturn lessons, shadows are being brought to the surface for your transmutation, transformation, for your identification? All right, Capricorn. What Capricorn. Ooh, you get 4 too, Capricorn. Capricorn, the gossiper shadow, spreading rumors, loving the drama, snitch, bad mouth. You can't keep secrets. Try not to wear your heart on your sleeve and be more selective in choosing friends. Not everyone has good intentions. The unhealthy shadow, tend to ignore health problems or self-care, self-neglect, neglecting the body, mind, and spirit. It's not selfish to love yourself, take care of yourself, and give yourself permission to pause and restore. Capricorn, the vulgar shadow. Behaving offensively, rude, or inappropriate, being harsh, no filter, cutting, blunt. How you present yourself is how people first view you. What are you showcasing? And then Capricorn, the know-it-all shadow. Claims to know more than everyone else. Prima donna, show off, smugness. Use your knowledge to bring out the best in the people around you. And remember, there is always more to learn. All right, so we are healing these shadow aspects during the Saturn transition. Here we go for some clarity, purification, transmutation, transformation, elevation, evolution. Beautiful. We are moving forward. All right, thank you. Moving on to Aquarius. Right? I have Aquarius that I was sharing in the other videos too, right? In Vedic astrology, my moon is in Aquarius. In Western astrology, it's in Pisces, right? This quirkiness, this, right? So, Aquarius, what lessons, what shadows are here to be transformed, transmuted, right? What is being brought up this Saturn transit for you, Aquarius? What shadows? What shadow? What shadows? Okay, Aquarius, the entitled shadow, you owe me type of attitude, self-centered and unrealistic expectations, especially of others. Learn to stop expecting others to give you things that you can do for yourself, and you will accomplish so much more. The defensive shadow, an overprotective mentality, cautious, easily triggered, quick to protect. Have a willingness to lay aside your defensive tendencies so you can see situations clearly. The egotistical shadow, being excessive, self-focused, shallow, right? With your traits and hobbies, inconsiderate, arrogant, or narcissistic. Ego only becomes a problem when you allow it to grow into arrogance. Don't lose track of your ego. And it's interesting because Saturn in Aquarius is all about the karma, healing the karma of the ego, right? It's a heavy load to carry, especially for the collective. But here we are, right? So we are healing these shadows for progress, for success, right? Beautiful. We are moving on. So last but not least, Pisces. Hi, my fellow Pisces. I love you. Right? So Pisces, sun, moon, rising. What shadows are being presented here at the time for articulation, for your transmutation, for transformation, for evolution, right? What shadows are coming up for you, Pisces, at this time, right? I understand, right? Here we go. Pisces. In you, you carry a little bit of all, right? Right. Oh, Pisces, the depressed shadow, persistent long-term depression, melancholy, bleakness, sad, despondent, escapism. There are wounds that need to be addressed and healed. Explore your childhood wounds. Wow. Okay, Pisces. The defensive shadow, an overprotective mentality, cautious, easily triggered, quick to protect. Have a willingness to lay aside your defense tendencies so you can see situations clearly. And Pisces, then we have the rusher shadow. Rushes into things, right? Don't think relationships, regrets, bad decisions, impatient, and being impulsive. This is not the time to rush into things. Enjoy the journey and be patient. When the time is right, it will happen. Right? So we're healing all these shadows, right? I'm going to do another shadow reading too, so we can really explore all of this, right? Even more. Let me know how you love these readings. But here we are, we're healing the shadow elements of this, right? We're exalting it for transmutation, transformation, evolution, right? Healing the depression, the melancholy, the sad, the cycle of that can be bad. Wonderful. Amazing. Right. Thank you so much for tapping in, turning on, tuning in to all right, so for some clarity and guidance, right? What advice do we have for the collective tapping in, turning on, tuning into these messages at this time during these Saturn transits, whatever, no matter what it is that they choose to believe about these transits, whether it's in Aquarius, Pisces, whatever, but taking advantage of the time loop that is occurring here for our progression, for our benefit, for our evolutionary benefit. What advice, what wisdom can be bestowed upon those tapping in, turning on, tuning in to us right now at this moment in time for massive clarity? What advice? Okay, what advice? Air, which is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, right? The symbol of air, right? Air is all about logic, critical thinking, facts, information, research, and reasoning are required at this time. You may also need more information before proceeding. Drawing this card asks you to call on the element of air to help you in finding healthy resolutions. Meditate with this symbol to call on more of the air element in your life, enhance logical thought, and inspire new ideas. Use incense, channel writing, and journaling to enhance the power of this element. This is the alchemical symbol of air. All right, what other advice, wisdom do we have for those tapping in, turning on, tuning in? You got the talisman, and you got new life. I like that, right? This is the Ankh, right? The symbol of the Ankh. Is that right? The symbol of the Ankh? I think so. I don't know. Now I'm looking at it weird a little bit. Maybe it's because I'm looking at it upside down. Right? But here we have the talisman. The talisman represents new doors opening for you right now. New pathways are present at this time. It also invites you to find or create and charge an appropriate symbol, amulet, or mantra to help support your current endeavors on healing. Empower this talisman with your intention to evoke. I have a powerful talisman at witchyutopian.com. Just saying. Empower this talisman with your intention to evoke. That's witchyutopian.com. WITCHYUTOPIAN.com. All information in the description box. Little mini self-advert. Empower this talisman with your intention to evoke its magic in your everyday life. Meditate with this card to act as a powerful road opener to a new adventure of opportunities or to discover hidden talisman of power, love, and peace. Right? This symbol is the key. The skeleton key is often used in magic symbolically to move from one place in life to another. It also is one of the many symbols of the goddess Hecate. When worn as a talisman or charged with intention, I have keys at witchyutopian.com too. When worn as a talisman or charged with intention, the key can free us from our self-imposed cages and move us into the next part of the journey by opening new doors to opportunity, right? And then we got new opportunity to new life over here, right? So this is all about new life. The arrival, right here, new life. The arrival of new beginnings or the budding start of something beautiful and long lasting. Drawing this card can indicate a need or desire to start over with a sense of childlike wonder. What you are beginning will have a strong impact and far reach. Drawing this card can indicate a positive relationship and or experience. The symbol is of the Ankh. Ankh is an ancient Egyptian symbol representing eternal life. Amazing. I'm gonna leave this on here. I think this is beautiful. So thank you for tapping in, turning on, tuning in with I. May you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how these messages resonated. Let me know your thoughts on Saturn and Pisces being debunked, and where are you in your thoughts of evolution after being presented with this astronomical information that cannot be ignored. I mean, you can ignore it, but I mean, why would you want to? Right? Why would you want to ignore evolution, transformation out of pure stubbornness too, right? Don't do that to you. All right. So either way, thank you so much for tapping in, turning on, tuning in. Till next time. Come again, my friends.